Review for Chapter 2, Percents. Now numbers 1 through 6 say to solve for each number by using a proportion. So for number 1, 20% of 120 is what number? I put the percent in the percent portion, and then I do 100 underneath. And I set up of 120 is the bottom. That means x is the top. We cross multiply. So in my calculator, I would do 120 times 20 and get 2400 equals 100x. Divide for my answer of 24. Same setup for number 2. 15 is, that goes in the is portion. 15% over 100 of what number? That's x. Again, cross multiply. Divide. And x equals 100. Number 3, 8 is what percent of 64? Well, what percent is my question, so I know that's x. And then 8 is, that's the top of 64, that's the bottom. We cross multiply. Divide both sides by 64. And in my calculator, I would do 800 divided by 64, and x will equal 12.5%. Let's try writing that a little neater. 12.5%. Number 4, what is 52% of 60? 52 goes in my percent spot, 100 underneath. Of 60, that's the bottom number. And I would again cross multiply. $60 times 52. I get 3,120, and I divide that by 100, which means x will be 31.2. Number 5, 80 is 25% of what number? So my 80 goes on top. I don't know the of, and 25 over 100. Again, cross multiply. I have 8,000 equals 25x. Divide by 25. And my final answer is 8,000 divided by 25, which equals 320. Last one, number 6, what percent, so I know that's going to be my x, is 22 of 70, and 100 on the bottom. Cross multiply, 2200 equals 70x. Divide by 70. In my calculator, I do 2200 divided by 70. And I get a crazy long decimal. We're going to round him to 31.4, and it is a percent. Alright, now in number 7, we change methods. 7 through 10 is to write an equation to solve. We're going to round to the nearest 10. So that means I'm doing my equation, which is the number is equals the percent times my of. So we'll set this up by is goes first equals my percent, I don't know, times of. There's my equation. Now I'm going to solve by dividing by 48. I do 15 divided by 48, and I get a crazy decimal, 0.3125, and we're going to round to the nearest tenth, so 31.2%. Change your decimal to a percent. Alright, number 8, 35% of what number is 42? Well, is always starts. So 42 equals my percent as a decimal. That's 0.35 times x. So now we're dividing by 0.35. 0.35. And in my calculator, I do 42 divide by 0.35, and I get the answer of 120. Number 9. Macy has completed 78% of the 50 questions on the test. How many questions has Macy completed? Well, I know 78% as a decimal is 0.78. Of the 50 questions means we're multiplying by 50, so I'm finding that is. So in my calculator, I do 0.78 times 50, and it gives me my answer of 39. Number 10, 3% of 120 is what number? Well, here is my is. I know he's my question, so it's my variable. 3% as a decimal, you move them over twice. 0.03 times 120. So in my calculator, I do 0.03 times 120, and I get my answer of 3.6. Alright, number 11. So now if we read our directions, we are finding percent of change, rounding to the nearest whole percent. We also have to state whether it's an increase or a decrease in percent. So first thing I'm going to do is find the amount of change by subtracting 75 minus 25. And I get 50. That's the top number of my fraction. Original number goes on the bottom. I have 50 divided by 75. That goes in my calculator. And I get a crazy decimal, 0.666 forever, which I'm going to round to 67. And we're going to make that a percent. I have 67%, nearest whole number, and 75 to 25 is a decrease. Number 12, Kenzie bought a shirt for $18. The next day she saw the shirt was selling for $24.60. What is the percent of change? Well, first thing I do is find the amount of change. $24.60 minus 18. And I'll do that in my calculator. $24.60 minus 18 is $6.60. Well, that's the top number of my fraction, divided by my original number of $18, and I get the decimal 0.3, again 6, that goes on forever, so we move it over, we get 37% when I round, and 18 to 24 is an increase. Alright, next page.